without further ado, Dr. Kathy Gruver.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. I'm so excited to be here. So spring has sprung, as we could tell by the weather yesterday, and then winter came back. So we had it for just a moment. I was kind of happy that it's overcast again. We're talking about this heat wave that I don't think ever came, but maybe it was yesterday. So we're going to talk about joy and ways to find more joy in your life, because that's, at times of struggle for all of us. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world, as you guys probably noticed. So anyway, we can tap into joy. So I did a lot of research and I found 8 ways that we can reignite joy in our lives. And for those of you who were at the holiday joy, I like to start with a poem. And I couldn't use the Christmas poem, so I wrote a whole new one. So here we go. Spring is a time of new beginnings, when nature wakes from her slumber. Newness abounds, baby birds make their way to your feeder, and plants start to have their bud break. We feel the energy in the air, the smell of flowers and of rain drifting on a light breeze. Spring is a time of renewal, of taking new steps, of reacquaintance with things that you let die the previous year. Time to plant, time to envision and imagine what the rest of the year will hold for you. What are you ready to plant? What would you like to see blossom and bloom in your life this year? It's also a time of shedding, the proverbial spring cleaning where we put the winter clothes away and pull up the lighter jackets and shorts. I grew up back east, and I remember it was the time we would take the glass out of the front door and put the screen back in for summer. We would review the things that we packed away for the cooler weather, clean out the refrigerator, wash the drapes, all those things we've been putting off all winter long. What do you need to shake off and look at? What is it time for you to shed? Is it clothes? Do you need to clean out your closet? Do you have too many books, even though I understand they're your children? Is it time to clean out the refrigerator or that cabinet in the bathroom that has things in it that are expired that you're never going to take again? Is it time to let go of habits, of old modes of thinking, of phrases that demean you or self-talk that doesn't make you feel good? Let's use the longer, brighter days as an invitation. We have made a shift from dark to light. And whether you look at spring as a time of shedding, or a time of renewal, or a combination of both, which it surely is, I wish that everything you plant this year comes to fruition, and everything that you're ready to let go of falls away easily, gracefully, and allows space for you to fill those empty spots with the most beautiful and wonderful things in life. Now let's dive into some joy. So the first thing that leads to joy is gratitude and journaling. And for those of you who are journal, I love journaling. You go to Chaucer's, you get one of those really fun blank books and you just write, and then you get about halfway through and you can't find the journal, so you go buy a new one, so you have like 20 half-full journals. That's how I do it anyway. Some prompts for journaling. What is the best thing that happened to you today? Pick one thing. What are the 5 things that you love about yourself? Make a list of people that make you happy when you're around them. Find a photo you love. Could be an old one of yours. It could be something in a magazine. I know Newstalk has a photo of the day every day, and sometimes they're really, really great. What are 5 things you love about that? What is the favorite part of this neighborhood and this community for you? Maybe it's this beautiful clubhouse. Maybe it's the garden. Maybe you like to golf. What's a fond memory you have with a good friend? And the reason these things are so important is it's not necessarily for the moment when you're writing it all down. But if you're having a day that is sort of down, or is sort of sad, or is sort of frustrating, you get to turn back to that book. And there's automatically positive things that you get to focus on. Because sometimes we forget that there's positive stuff. We have things that go wrong, and that's often all we focus on. But if we can just open this book or open our phone and turn to these things that we're grateful for, these things that make us happy, these things that fill us with joy, then we get to shift our mood. Let's try a little experiment. Right now, everyone look around the room and notice everything you can find that's red. Memorize everything that's red. Not a lot of red, but yeah, actually, we love red. Yep, memorize all the things that are red. Not much red, but there's little snippets of it. Okay, now, close your eyes. Close your eyes and remember everything you saw that was blue. I know, it's unfair. Shame on me. But the blue stuff didn't disappear. You just weren't focusing on it. And this is what happens when we're only looking at the negative. all the positive stuff falls away. It's still there, we're just not looking at it. So when you can open this journal, or your phone, or just a piece of paper you have on the fridge, and see all that positive stuff, it helps remind us. And often, I'm a life coach as well as a whole litany of other things, and often I will have my clients write a list of 25 things they're grateful for. And they go, 25? 25 is not a lot. And I challenge them, if they moan about 25, I go, oh, you're right, that's really hard. Make it 30. And they go, oh. But we forget the little things, right? And I had one client say, this gratitude thing always throws me. I think it has to be this like huge thing. And I'm like, did you get out of bed this morning? There's 22 good things right there. You have legs that move. You have a bed. You have sheets and blankets and pillows. You slept in a house with heat. You know, I mean, like, you can start with one little thing. I bet when you turned the water on, water came out and it was clean. A lot of people don't have that, and we forget that we're living in this privileged and beautiful environment where we have to focus on that good stuff, and it helps the negative stuff not be so impactful. So, number 1, gratitude and journaling. Number 2, exercise, especially dancing. So I started dancing when I was 4. I still dance. I do hip hop 2 days a week. It's my drug, my church, my therapy, my everything. Even if you're not dancing, that's okay. Play your favorite song and dance around the room. Maybe we'll do that in a second. Go to a gym, do classes online. I'm not familiar with the environment here, but I bet you guys have like a fitness center or something, right? Is there a gym that you can do right below this? Fabulous. And they can do yoga. I mean, there's amazing things you can do to move your body. And even if you can't get out of your chair and dance like you used to, dancing in your chair is just as good. There's chair yoga, there's stretching. And it's so interesting, our brains are so powerful. If you are a dancer, like if you know how to dance, and you watch someone else dancing, the parts of your brain that know how to dance light up as if you're doing it. It's really cool. Our brain is amazing. If you don't dance or don't know how to dance, you'll watch it and still enjoy it, but that part of your brain won't light up. It's really fascinating. I see you have a golf course out there. Golf, hit the ball around a little bit. You can do classes online. During COVID, this was a great thing, right? We all got on YouTube and we were doing our yoga classes, and I found one, it was ballet and wine. Loved it. And I don't remember the second half of the class, but I did. There's so many options for adult ed here. I mean, we have beautiful stuff through City College where you can go and do pottery classes and exercise classes and yoga classes. Have a workout buddy. You guys have all gathered here. I'm sure some of you know each other, maybe some of you don't. Maybe you meet at the pool every 2 days and you do your water aerobics or whatever it is. Finding someone to help you be accountable is huge. Personal trainer to a friend that's going to walk with you, because if you wake up and don't feel like it, but you know Sarah's waiting for you, you're going to get out of bed and go walk. For those of you who want to dance, and that's my crazy father, unfortunately he's no longer with us, but that was his ballet during one of my dance recitals. See where I got my coordination? Dance reduces stress and depression. It improves energy and serotonin. It increases flexibility. It strengthens bones, boosts cardiovascular health, increases mental capacity. Because when you're dancing, you've got to remember those moves, you've got to remember those steps. And it helps you to make decisions. It makes your brain do these rapid fire movements and these decisions, so it's fabulous. So I won't torture you for too long, but let's all stand up for a second. And it doesn't have to be pretty, and I don't care what you do. Let's dance it. I had to pick a song happy. Okay, now we're just getting started. Thank you all for indulging in the dancing. Woo. I'm out of breath. Okay. So, any kind of moving your body. You all just boosted the endorphins and the feel-good hormones in your body. Except we were grabbed without permission and just told to dance, it's okay. You're voluntold that you're gonna do some partner dancing. Okay, so the third way that we can increase joy and happiness in our life is learning. I don't know about you, I'm a lifetime learner. My husband came home after work on Black Friday after Thanksgiving, and I sat there and I said, I did something. He goes, oh no, what'd you do? And I said, the place that has the continuing ed classes that I really like, that I don't actually need for any of my stuff. He goes, yeah. He said, they had a sale. He goes, oh no, what did you do? I said, I bought 150 hours of continuing ed that I don't need. And he goes, babe! And I said, yeah, it was only $100. Yeah. So if I'm not talking to you or in my office, I'm in class. And I was in class this morning. I love it. Learning to me, this endless curiosity, this is why I love things like magic and nature, because that curiosity expands our brains. And once our brain expands, it can't shrink back. It just is amazing for our cognitive ability, for our memory, for our interactions, for our relationships. It causes us to think again. And that is so important as we get older to keep on learning. And I have people that graduated school and have never picked up a book, and they don't take a class, and they don't watch anything interesting. And to me, it's a smaller world. We can expand ourselves with every little bit that we learn. Read, listen to podcasts. Oh my God, I had a podcast for 6 years. Everybody's got a podcast now. But you can listen to a podcast on anything. You can listen to a podcast on how to do podcasts on podcasting. I mean, it's like crazy. Live classes, like this. Adult education, again, there's so many opportunities here in town to learn. Being around younger people. I love being around. My husband's younger than me, and though at times his peers can be a little annoying, it's so interesting to see how they think and the viewpoints that they have in the world and some of the discussions we have where I can see their brains still evolving and working things out as they mature and grow. It's fascinating. Teacher training. I have a client who has no desire to actually teach yoga, but she's going through a yoga teacher training because she wants that knowledge. She wants the ability to have that if she ever feels like pulling it out and using it. She's in her 70s now. YouTube, again, you can find videos on how to learn anything, and when you're done with that, there's really funny cat videos. And online learning, like I spend most of my time doing. So pick up a book, pick up a class, or I had a party once where I put 10 topics in a bowl, and I paired everybody up in the party. Everybody pulled a topic out of the bowl, and they had 5 minutes each to discuss it, and then we switched. It was one of the most fun parties I've ever thrown, because most of these people didn't know each other. So they had this ability to meet somebody new, hear an opinion, talk about this subject matter, and it was everything from playground equipment to politics to pets to, I mean, it was a really fun way to learn and expand your brain and grow. All right, joy number 4, nature. We're in Santa Barbara. It's very easy to find nature around here. You can take walks, you can go take tours. The other thing that's really cool that actually still sparks that same part in our brain is watching travel videos. If you get on YouTube or the Travel Channel and you watch documentaries and things about travel, that's sometimes just as good as being there. Flowers, visit a nursery. We're surrounded by nurseries here in Carp and Santa Barbara and Goleta. Keep fresh or soak flowers in your home. Take a floral design class. I know City College has floral design classes. It's a way to bring nature inside, and you can color up and beautify your home environment. Take a walk or drive, plant trees. There's so many services throughout, all over the place where you can plant trees in someone's name, plant trees in someone's honor. That can be their birthday gift, you plant a tree in their name. All of this helps not only our environment out there, but also our environment in here. Because when we're in nature, especially by running water, it affects the brain. The chemistry of the brain changes when we're around beautiful things. We reduce our stress when we stop and look at something beautiful. It just changes us. When I was in New Orleans, I traveled a lot for work. I was in New Orleans and I went to the World War II Museum, and it was image after image after image of war and death and destruction. And about halfway through, I said, oh my God, can you guys get a room like filled with kitten pictures or something? Because I literally had to like stop and like distract myself with pretty things on my phone because it was so emotionally draining. And those positive images lift you up. Psychology Today had a big study about looking at positive images and how that shifts your brain function and your brain chemistry. It's an amazing thing. So, I brought some nature with me. That was in Maine. I think that was here in Santa Barbara. I love clouds. Central Park, New York City. Pacific Northwest. I'm so privileged that I get to travel all over the place, and I love taking photos, and I love sharing pictures, and you never know how those pictures are going to affect somebody else. I was in Italy, and I was on a food kick. Italy, Rome, food, yeah, wine, totally. So I was taking pictures of my meals, and I was posting them, and my now ex-husband, and you'll see why in a second, was like, Gruver, what's with you and posting them? No one cares about your food. And I said, well, dear, if you don't care, then don't look. But I'm posting it. And the next day I got a private message from an old client of mine. She's kind of housebound at this point. And she said, Kathy, I love waking up every day and seeing what our adventure is going to be. Because I look at your pictures and I think, what am I eating with Kathy today? What am I seeing with Kathy today? And that just filled my heart with such joy because I was able to share an experience with her that she's probably not going to get to have ever again in her life. So share your pictures. Go look, live vicariously through other people. This is why we have social media when used in a good way. So joy number 5, pets. Oh yes, animals. Huge amounts of joy. Get a pet if you can, if you want to. Be around other people's pets. Volunteer in an animal shelter or a cat cafe. We have, I think, now 2 cat cafes in town where you grab your coffee and you sit in a room full of cats and you just play with them all day. They hope you adopt them out. But I think it's $15 and you could sit there for an hour and just have kittens climbing all over you. I have not done because my cat at home would be very upset about that. Watch funny and cute animal videos. YouTube is just, you can't not see funny animal videos. Find animals in nature with a bird feeder or a bird bath. I've become that lady that stands in my doorway and stares at my birds. Didn't think it would be me. I have a jay that sits on my hand and takes peanuts. I feed the squirrels from hand. They all know me, and if I'm a little too late, I look out and they're all going. And I spend more money on bird seed and peanuts than I do with my own food, I think, sometimes. And because I have to share, that's Alistair. That is our 18-pound Maine Coon. He's gotten a little chubby. Not to fat shame my cat. And the vet is like, he's perfect. And I'm like, I know. She said, but he's a little chubby. And I said, we're all a little chubby. She said, no, he's a little too chubby. And so we had to get him a food game so that he doesn't just eat all the food. So it has levers and drawers, and we have to put little bits of food in this whole thing. This trained us more than the cat, I think. And he has to learn how to open the drawers and push the lever to get the thing to pop up. And in 2 days, he had this thing down. We're going to have to get him the advanced version. But we're down on the floor going, look, look. And we're pushing the lever, show him. He's like, no, I got it. I just want to see how far you guys are going to take this. So animals bring such joy. Even looking at other people's animals and talking to them. And, you know, dogs make us more social. Because as we're walking the dog, inevitably people stop us to pet the dog. They want to talk to the dog. So when you're out and about, if you have an animal, that's a great way to make friends. And if not, walk up to someone with an animal and interact with that pooch. It's so beautiful for us. Okay, joy number 6, laughter. I have a quiz for you. Anybody know how many times a day a 3-year-old laughs? 100, she says. 300. Anybody know how many times a day a 40-year-old laughs?
1 times.
Like 4. How sad is that? Now, I laugh all day. My husband and I, they should just film us because we're like a comedy reality show. I laugh with my clients all day. My father was an extraordinarily funny man, as you could tell from that video, and he would forever call me with jokes. He had the joke of the week. Here's the joke of the week, Kath. And that's what I miss most. Anytime I hear a good joke, like I want to call him, and I know I can't, which is a bummer. But I remember him he lived in Pittsburgh. He called me one day, and I said, oh, hey, Dad, what's up? And he goes, what do you do with an elephant with 3 balls? And I said, hi, Dad, how are you? What do you do with an elephant with 3 balls? I said, I don't know, Dad, what do you do with an elephant with 3 balls? He goes, you walk the bastard and you pitch to the giraffe. And I went, and then he hung up. Baseball joke, right? Pitch to the DRE, you know. I went, okay. So I grew up in a household of lots of laughter. I remember the first joke he ever told me. I love telling jokes. Humor and laughter increases oxygen consumption in the brain. We get more oxygen in us, which allows our cells to stay younger. It allows our brains to be better. It allows muscle repair. Circulation is improved. It cools down your stress response. This was Chandler Bing in Friends, right? Anytime there was a stressful situation, he'd be funny, and that was his way of decreasing stress in the environment and making people more comfortable. It soothes tension in our body and sometimes in the room. It stimulates our heart, our lungs, and our muscles, and like I said before, it helps our circulation. And as we get older, our circulation starts to go down like everything else. Our fingers and our toes get cold and numb, and laughter helps increase that circulation. So anytime we can laugh. It also improves our immune system. Positive thoughts increase neuropeptides, which fight stress and more serious illness. Pain relief, laughter causes the body to produce natural painkillers. So every time we laugh, our body heals just a little bit more. Mood improvement and life and personal satisfaction. And was it Norman Cousins who, when he was dealing with his illnesses, wrote about laughter? And he would he'd take himself out of the hospital because it was such a non-fun place. And he went home and he played rerun after rerun after rerun of the Three Stooges. And he laughed himself back to health, which it's amazing. Okay, we already did that. Now, to add humor, watch stand-up comedy or funny TV shows. It's one of my favorite things. Tell jokes, listen to jokes. Surround yourself with funny people. And if you want to jump on YouTube, watch the funny fail videos or the silly bloopers online. They have ones that aren't, I love watching those. I watch those, I think, a little bit every day. The ones where someone's clearly getting hurt, I don't want to see those. But there's ones with animals. You know, Google animals falling downstairs. It is the most, puppies just rolling downstairs. It's the most hilarious thing you've ever seen. Then you're combining the animals and the humor. Okay, so I had to put some funny stuff up there. The more you weigh, the harder you are to kidnap. Stay safe, eat cake. Or cookies from Bristol. Town loves cat. Yep, that's me. Yep. Ding, ding, ding. I will feed you. Be honest, is this too much lettuce? My favorite. Mid-middle school was a gifting. I was deemed gifted in 4th grade, and my gifted teacher in our room had me in that blown up and put on the wall because it's so true. Like you're pushing and you're putting successful. How stupid can they be? Neither of them are wearing goggles.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
It takes a second. The 7th way that we can be filled with joy is to focus on the positive and shift our focus. So like I did with the red and blue exercise, it's so easy for us to focus on the negative, and then once we start focusing on the negative, that's all that happens. So I wanted to share a little story. So this is me at Stonehenge. It was a dream come true for me to go. And when I finally was able to leave the country for the first time, I knew what I was going to do. I was heading to the countryside of England. And I did a bunch of research about where I wanted to go. The internet was still in its infancy, so I couldn't just, Travelocity and where should I go. But I did as much research as I could. And I knew the places that I wanted to go, I couldn't get to on a tour, or a bus, or a train. I was going to have to drive. So I rented a car, and my first time out of the country by myself, I drove on the wrong side of the road, on the wrong side of the car, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was terrified. First time out of the country, luckily I knew language wasn't going to be a problem, so I felt okay. So first stop, Stonehenge. It was a dream come true. It was amazing. I barely remember being there, except I had like 700 pictures of that and me jumping and thumbs up. And, then I left there and I went to Woodhenge. Did you know there's a Woodhenge? It's right up the street. It's the same sort of thing, but they believe it was tree stumps and tree things. It's of course gone, but they've recreated it with low concrete stumps so you can see what it would look like. I had lunch at Woodhenge, and then I went to Avebury, where the entire town is a henge, and you walk down this mile of standing stones, and it opens up into this circle that it takes up the whole town. It's as if there would be a circle here, a stone here, and a stone there, and a stone out there by the golf course, and a stone, it's just, the whole town is a henge. And then I went to Bath, because the Roman influence was so cool, and I trailed my hand in the water, even though I don't think I was supposed to. And then I went to this little town called Stanton Drew. Stanton Drew had 12 houses, a church, and a henge in this guy's backyard, the stone circle. And so you walk through a gate and you can put a donation in if you want, and I'm standing in this guy's backyard and there's this circle about the size of this, and I sat down and I meditated. I tried not to do my to-do list meditation. I actually tried to meditate, but I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I wanted to just let sink in the amazingness of where I was, and I was there by myself. So I got to sit in the stone circle. And I realized if I wanted to get to my final destination, Glastonbury, ancient Avalon, this is the tour. That was my final destination that day, because I was going to climb that hill at sunset, and I was going to put my arms up in the air, and I was going to get sucked into some ancient and mystical realm. I was on a spiritual quest. And I told my friends, I'm going to be sucked into the book Mists of Avalon, so don't, wait for me. And they're like, we'll see you Wednesday. So I sit next to Stan Drew, I look, I'm like, oh, I gotta go. So I get in the car, and this is all one day, by the way. So by this point, I've got the driving thing down, and I'm tooling along this teeny little road on the side streets through the countryside of England. I got the radio going. I'm about 7 kilometers from Glastonbury, my dream come true, and I come around a blind curve, and there's a truck in my lane. And I swerve to miss the truck, and my tire hits this low stone curb that skirts the countryside of England, and I blew my tire. I didn't just blow my tire, I bent the rim on the car. I hit it so hard. And I was stranded. Truck didn't stop. Nobody was stopping. And in that moment, I went from my highest high to my lowest low as I realized I was going to miss the sunset that night on the tour, and I was stuck. And I started to freak out. I was unhappy. I called AAA, their version's AA, which I thought was hilarious. So I called AA. They said it could take up to 90 minutes to get to me. Oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. Why is this happening? This is my first time out of the country. They're ruining my perfect day. And then I realized I gotta call the bed and breakfast, because this woman is waiting for me to check in. So I called bed and breakfast. I'm like, oh, hey, Michelle, it's Kathy Gruver. This truck ran me off the road, and I'm stuck here, and I'm gonna be late to you, and I'm sorry to make you wait. And I kind of go off a little bit, and she stops me, and she says, are you safe? And I said, I don't know if I'm safe. I'm sitting on the side of the road. The sun's about to go down. No one's stopping. If I mentioned no one's stopping in my country, woman on the side of the road, someone would stop, and the truck just pulled off, and it was so rude. I'm an only child. And so I don't like when my plans are interrupted when I'm not responsible for it. So I go off on this poor woman, and she interrupts me, and she says, are you looking at something pretty? Am I looking at something pretty? No, I'm not looking at something pretty. I'm looking around this corner to see if the tow truck guy's coming, because I'm trying to get to you, because I want to climb the tour, and I'm going to be sucked into a mystical realm, and this is the worst day of my life, and I can't believe it. And she interrupts me again, and she says, well, you'll sit, you'll wait, you'll look at something pretty, you'll get here when you get here. And the bitch hung up on me. Didn't say another word, slammed the phone down. This did not help my mood at all. But I realized she was right. And I steamed for a little bit, and I did math to see if I could afford to call California, because I was on a cell phone and you would have paid me per minute. What time is it? Can I call them? I wanted to stay in this frustrated, moany, poor me place. And after about 10 minutes of me having my tantrum on the side of the road and the truck still not coming, I finally turned away from the road for the first time. And that's what was behind me. Not that exact thing, because I didn't have sense to take the picture of that thing because there wasn't some old structure on it, but it pretty much looked like that. And it was that time of day that photographers loved. It's that magic hour when the colors aren't brighter necessarily, but they're a little more brilliant somehow. Everything has this like amber glow to it. And I kicked my legs over this wall, and I stared out into this field. And as the sun started to go down, I could see the shadows along the shrubbery like shifting, and then the wind would blow, and I could smell this sweet grass that I still remember. And then I could hear cows out in the field as the sun carried their sound to me, and I basically just sat there and I watched nature go to sleep. And maybe 20, 30 minutes later, the AA guy came, changed the tire, and I got on my way. And yeah, I missed the sunset that night on the tour, but I had a whole nother night to see it. And I realized this spiritual quest I was on had nothing to do with me standing on a hill with my arms up in the air. It had me having the sense to listen to this woman who basically said, sit there and shut up and be present. To shift your focus, because there's always something wrong. There's always going to be something around us that we don't like, that isn't the way we wanted it, that isn't working the way we thought. There's always that. But if we focus on that, we're never going to see the positive stuff. It's the red and the blue. So that was the lesson that I've carried from that trip. That was back in like 2008, and that I think about that all the time. Sitting in traffic, look at something pretty. It shifts us, it changes us. So that shifting the focus and focusing on positive, huge way to increase joy and positivity in your life. And the last one, love. 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 It brings joy to us. When we think of people we love, it brings joy. Right now, go ahead, look around the room, just look at everybody that's here. Whether you know them or not. Now everybody, just for a second, close your eyes. And think about someone you really love. From right now, from the past, it could be a cat, it could be your kid, it could be a parent. Let that love fill your heart. I see some smiles. Hopefully giggles. As we let that love fill us from feet out to our fingertips, it shifts everything in our being. We can't help but feel elated by focusing on that love. Now go ahead and open your eyes and look around the room again with love. There's a beautiful, it's called a meta meditation, which is a loving kindness meditation, where you focus on those people who you greatly love and you send that love to them. And then you focus on those people that you're kind of neutral about, you know them, but you don't have strong feelings for them, and you send love to them. And then you focus on someone who you really don't like, who really rubs you wrong. I heard all that. Wow, we're all thinking the same person. Maybe, I'm just guessing, I don't know. And then sending love and healing and kindness to them. And people walk away in tears feeling so elated about this, because when we send a joy out, it comes right back to us. And it becomes this beautiful presence exercise. And so often life is transactional. You know, I'm an iced tea drinker, and when I go to a Starbucks or something, it's so easy to watch people, you know, grab their drink, go, thank you, and they just walk out. It takes 1 second to meet their eyes and say thank you. Because what that does is that acknowledges another human being in front of you. It doesn't just make them a means for you to get your cafe latte, whatever you guys drink. It acknowledges that humanness. That's what namaste is. I see the spirit in you looking back at me. That acknowledgement of, I see you. And we have two drives as children. We want to be accepted for our authentic self, and we want to be accepted. The problem is, when we're not accepted as kids for our authentic self, we change our authentic self. We adapt, we become a pleaser, or we become angry, or we shed who this authentic being is, because we have to be protected. If our parents don't accept us, they won't protect us. We're dependent on them. So as we get older, we have all of these issues that arise from us not being our authentic self. So when you see another person, you're seeing that glimmer of their authentic self. Because our parents loved us when we were cute and cooing and adorable. They didn't love us so much when we were throwing a tantrum and smearing poop on the wall. A lot of you are probably parents, and you're like, So now, as adults, we get to be our authentic self, and others see that. And it's a beautiful gift. And that's that love, that's that self-love too. So if you find yourself having negative self-talk, or, you know, I have clients that I'm so stupid. No, you're not so stupid. That's an old voice that's telling you that. This is where I love affirmations. I am smart and funny. I am loved. I am surrounded by supportive people. I am my authentic being. I am strong and resilient. I am whatever you need to affirm in yourself. And if you want to make your affirmations really great, write them down right before you go to bed. Short, positive, in the present moment, and write them out. In longhand, that writing they don't teach anymore. Any to-do list people in the room? Any to-do listers? Couple, yep. When you guys do your to-do, do you write them out by hand? Yeah, and when you go to cross something off, if you realize you didn't write it down, do you write it down just to cross it off? Yeah, I want credit for that. You get a dopamine hit every time you cross off a list. And studies show when we write stuff out, when we write shopping lists, we remember more. When we write goals, we achieve more. When we write affirmations, they tend to happen. And at the very least, it shifts your focus into the positive. And there's no prescription required, there's no copay, and there's no crazy side effects. All right, so our recap for joy. Gratitude, keep a gratitude journal. Be grateful for those things in your life, little and big. Exercise, especially dancing. Keep learning, spend some time in nature, find our animal friends, keep laughing, Surround yourself with positivity and love. And if you want to keep learning from me, I have books in the back. They're $10 and $15. I can take credit cards, cash, Venmo. Journey of Healing is my favorite. I know you're not supposed to have a favorite child, but I do. It's everything I know about health and wellness, along with personal tales of growth and evolution thrown in. Conquer Your Stress is 45 stress techniques. Conquer Your Stress at Work. You can ignore the at work part. It's just the 5 techniques that I teach. Affirmations, visualization, mindfulness, meditation, and affirmations. Mindfulness. And then Say What is a communication book. I did not bring workplace wellness because I figured you don't need to know how to stretch at the office anymore. But those are in the back, and feel free to keep in touch with me. I'm a life and executive coach. I do couples coaching, psychedelic coaching. I actually coach a lot of seniors, which is kind of fun. And I have business cards back there too. So thank you for dancing with me. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you.